Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the RetroSlot podcast, episode 69. These don't come around too often, episode 69, so I think we should take a moment to enjoy it.
Yeah, nice.
We delayed it by a week, but here we are, finally.
Yeah, we had to edge the episode. Oh my god, why did I just say that?
Oh, yeah, that was perfect. I love it. Let's get that explicit rating out of the way right away.
Wait, how have you been?
Doing okay. Things are kind of crazy around here, I'll be honest, but you do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do,
You did say it's your busy season, and you weren't feeling great, right?
No, yeah, not feeling too good. So, but you put one foot in front of the other, and you just kind of keep marching along. The hard times will end eventually, theoretically.
It'll all come back around. Is that how it works?
Yeah. It is fall here though, and the leaves are starting to change, which is nice. So we're getting those like fall colors, and I've been doing a little hiking, doing a little kayaking, and enjoying that part of life a lot. So that's been nice.
Nice. Yeah, overnight it went from like being in the 80s and 90s to be like 65.
65. I like 65.
I
That's
do
a
too.
good temp.
Not so much the rain.
No
Not so
rain.
much the rain, because the rain here is cold.
Yeah, 65-degree rain is cold.
Yeah.
I like 65 and sunny, and
or
maybe
overcast even.
I'd prefer not overcast. I like the sun. I think if there's a little bit of a gusty breeze, not a wind, mind you, just a little breeze that rustles the leaves every once in a while, but doesn't actually chill you.
Sure. Just it's usually pretty overcast here 9 times out of 10.
Oh, really?
Northwest, yeah.
I don't think I would like the Northwest. I think it rains too much for me.
It's like misty rain. It's not like it usually doesn't pour, but it was raining pretty hard yesterday for here.
Yeah.
I like gloomy. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I like hoodie weather and jeans weather.
Yeah. Watts likes that too. I think people in the Northwest, it serves them well if they like that kind of weather because they're going to get a lot of it.
Especially in the fall, like Halloween time, warm drinks, wearing like snuggly stuff. Sitting by the fire,
that does feel good. Yeah. So I like during the fall foliage season, like on a hike and you're like wearing pants for the first time in 6 months.
I'm getting a completely different image than what you meant. He just goes 6 months in his undies,
Go for a nice drive, and like maybe a little quick hike, then go to a vineyard and get a little tipsy. Good times.
Yeah.
A little cider run.
Well, you're a pumpkin spice fan too.
Oh, huh? I am a hardcore pumpkin spice fan, and I'm not afraid to talk to you about it.
I
went to Starbucks today, and they were out of pumpkin spice.
What?
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm leaving. There's nothing else. What?
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Well, we got apple cider flavored coffee. I'm like, fuck your apple cider flavored coffee.
I just like half pumps on Starbucks too, so I'm a preserver of the pumps.
Oh.
All the other people probably get extra pumps.
Oh, see?
It's pretty sweet.
I want to go to your Starbucks.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a pumpkin spice latte in a minute, but
no.
Have you tried the new Wendy's pumpkin spice frosty?
No. Have you?
Yes.
Is it good?
It's good. However, it is a bit too sweet.
Too sweet. Okay.
A little bit. So a pumpkin spice latte, I like it with half pump. So it's kind of the same kind of thing. I wish it was a little like half the sweet.
Yeah.
But the flavors, it's just that artificial pumpkin spice flavor that they dump into the vanilla, So it's good, but it's really sweet.
Is it? It's too sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pumpkin stuff can get like that sometime. A little like sickly sweet a little bit. Yeah. My mother got pumpkin spice flavored cream cheese. And that's how I felt about that. This is not it. Not it. It tasted kind of like cream. Like it tastes a little bit like what's the pie called? That
pumpkin pie?
No. The cheese pie. What's it called? I can't.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Thank you.
Yeah.
It tasted a little like cheesecake, but it was on a bagel. I don't know. It just was not right. I didn't dig it.
I like cheesecake, but I don't love pumpkin cheesecake. I don't love pumpkin pie.
I like pumpkin pie.
I only like the artificial pumpkin flavor, like in a latte.
I'm a big fan of pumpkin pie. But with cheesecake, I tend to just play it straight. Just get cheesecake, maybe some fruit on top. Don't mix the fruit in. Just put the fruit on top.
I've had like a salted caramel cheesecake, which was really good too, but I don't want like a chocolate cheesecake or anything like that.
Mm,
No.
yeah. I want to play it right up the middle. Just give me the regular old cheesecake. Give me the New York style cheesecake.
Yeah. I think, and this is a story that my mom always tells when I was like 15, 16, 17. All I wanted for my birthday cake was a Trader Joe's or a Costco, just cheesecake. That's it.
Yeah.
They're like $9, and I would like scarf half the thing in one sitting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan.
Uh,
I only finally went to the Cheesecake Factory last year.
for the first time?
First time ever. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
It was
What'd you
pretty
get?
good. I got cheesecake, and it was pretty good.
Well, no, like you go, everybody else is like, yeah, I'll have the spaghetti. You're like, no, this is the Cheesecake
It's
Factory.
not the Spaghetti Factory. Like, let's go to a wings place and get a burger. Like, what are you doing here?
Place only makes cheesecake. It's literally called the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
They have 30 cheesecakes on display. Give me one of them.
I'll take a brownie, please.
It's like going to an Asian restaurant and getting a burger or something too, like, or a piece of pizza. It's like
that day, actually, my wife was torturing me. There were only 2 stops on the agenda. One was a bookstore. I want to say it was Barnes & Noble. And the Barnes & Noble is directly across the street from the Cheesecake Factory, which I had never been to. So she's like, well, for your birthday, I'll take you to the bookstore. And then we'll go to the Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, sweet. I'm like really into cheesecake. I can't wait. Like, if there's any dessert I want, it's cheesecake. This woman spent 3 hours in this bookstore browsing around. And it was one of those bookstores that has like the cafe in it. So it smells like fresh cookies and baked goods and coffee. So I didn't eat, like, I don't think I ate all day because I'm like, I'm going to go hard on this. I'm going into the Cheesecake Factory hungry and ready to party, right? Like, we're not fucking around here.
DTC, down to cheesecake.
Yeah, down to cheesecake. I was so hungry when we walked in, and I'm like, okay, I picked out a couple books. I'm pretty ready to go. And my wife's like, oh, hold on. I want to look around a little more. I don't get a chance to look at bookstores too often. I'm like, all right. It's like an hour goes by. I'm like, I'm an impatient person. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit impatient. But I try very hard to just be like, okay, just do something else. Don't just rush everybody all the time, right? Because it's not, nobody likes that. Dude, hour 2, and I'm like, we gotta go. I am starving. She's like, I'm almost ready to go. Whose
birthday is this?
And then she found the magazine section. There's like, people still make magazines. She's like, look at all these magazines. It's like any hobby you could possibly want, there's a magazine for. Dude, it was 3 hours. 3 hours in that damn bookstore. Now, I love a good bookstore, but we had more important things to do. Cheesecake Factory. It was worth the wait, though. I'm a big fan. I like that place.
And I can't remember the last time. Like, you're describing a bookstore and Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, that sounds like 2005 to me.
Yeah.
Like, we don't go to bookstores very often anymore because most of them are out of business.
Yeah.
First of all. Secondly, Cheesecake Factory was very like, college age. You get a lot of bang for your buck. You go to a Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, really? I thought it was pretty expensive, honestly.
Well, I mean, maybe 20 years ago it was better, but
okay.
Yeah, I haven't been to one in a long time, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was relatively expensive. The food was all good. It wasn't. I didn't think it was like, crazy special, but the cheesecake was pretty good. I was pretty happy with the cheesecake.
It's a chain restaurant. It's a chain restaurant. So.
Yeah, but it's good. I liked it. And the Barnes & Noble was good too. You know what? Barnes & Noble has a pretty good Lego department too, which I didn't know.
That doesn't surprise me. Branching out of books.
Yeah,
bring in the profits.
One of my kids got his brother a Lego bonsai tree, which is pretty dope, actually.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, it was neat. And it wasn't that expensive. It was like $30-$40 or something like that.
Speaking of food,
Uh-huh.
the discussion topic
Yes.
that I came up with 30 seconds before we went live.
Yes. That we really thought about this
Yeah,
when we were stressed
yeah,
out. Like,
yeah. I was brushing my teeth and I was like, that's a good question.
Hmm.
Describe your favorite pizza, however, be as like methodically descriptive as you can be.
Okay.
Every piece of the pizza, describe it.
Okay. I'm gonna work from bottom up.
Okay.
So I like a nice thin crust. Not like so thin, like not like California thin, you know what I'm saying? Like not like,
Mhm.
you know, like it's still a pizza crust, like it's a bread, right? But it's thinner and it's like a little bit black on the bottom. Like it's been in the oven enough to get a little bit black. It's not burnt.
Like a stone cooked pizza.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And it's got a little bit of toughness to it. It's not, you don't just like, you don't bite through it and like hardly feel it. Like you bite into it and then you got to like tear a little bit, right? It's not like, you're not like gnawing at it like a dog on a rawhide, but you got to give it like a little tear. There's some tensile strength to that crust, and it's got to be flavorful, right? It's got to have nice flavor. You know how people are always
like oven dust.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely want some oven dust on there. Like there's got to be some like some of that white flour on there, so like, and you get a little bit on your hand when you pick it up, you know, right? Like that's got to be there. And I don't like cornmeal. That's not what I'm talking about. Some places you get and there's like cornmeal on it. I'm like, that's not the right texture. I want flour. I really like that quite a bit. And then you kind of want a mixture of cheese and sauce. You don't want like a layer of sauce and then cheese, because then the cheese tends to just slide right off the pizza when you pick it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like a landslide, like a mudslide of just like cheese. So you really want them to be putting like the cheese and the sauce on almost at the same time. You know, so like you get a little bit of you get like a base layer. You get like something holding down the sauce and the cheese directly to the dough. You know what I'm saying?
Why don't places do that more?
I don't know, but like it's really annoying when you pick up a piece of pizza and the shit all just slides off the top.
Papa John's is the worst when it comes to that.
I've only had Papa John's in California, oddly.
I don't know what they do. They like the cheese is like it's like separated too. It's weird. Anyways, continue.
I want fresh mozz too. I don't like when they use like the shredded cheese. I like when they are, you can see like the round,
like margarita
shape.
style.
Yes. I like when you can see the round slice of mozzarella that has then melted outward. Like that to me is like perfect. And I like that to be just browned, you know, like melted.
Sure.
It just like they took it out just as it was turning brown. That is my favorite kind of cheese. And then I'll put like maybe like some Parmesan or something on top of that, but very, very light. Like a lot of people will put like just like start dumping that on, and then red pepper and then salt. Like you see people put salt on pizza, you're like, why don't you put that in fucking ranch, you monster?
Spending $35 on a pizza and dumping it in ranch.
And then I like a good homemade sauce. The sauce should be a little, like, just have a little bit of texture to it. I wouldn't say like a chunky sauce. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's something you put on spaghetti, but just a little bit of texture to it. Just like it's not from a jar. You can tell that this is homemade sauce. You know, it was made at this restaurant. I really like a good Kalamata olive. I think that is delicious.
Sure.
It's a little bit saltier than like a regular black olive. There's a little bit more flavor to it, I think.
Briny.
Yeah, I think that's really nice. And maybe a good sausage, but not like some breakfast sausage. Like I want a good Italian sausage, you know, that's got like those spices to it. Like that's really good. I think I'm going to cut it off there. Oh, and I want the slice to be like huge, right? Like monster slice that you gotta like fold over, you know, and then you're holding it. It's almost like a pizza sandwich, and then it like comes to a taper, and like the end is still just a little bit floppy, even though it felt, you know, like it's folded, but the end's still kind of a little bit floppy, and you gotta kind of like get it into your mouth, like it's dropping down, and you're trying to get it into your mouth. And it's not like all grease like pouring out of this thing. It's not that greasy, right? It's like, you know, it's certainly not healthy. I eat pizza for my health, but it's not like just like dripping grease everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's it. How about you?
You hit on a lot of things that I would also enjoy. Probably less on the tough tearing part. I
Okay.
would want a little bit more crunch, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
I can
So
respect it.
not like thin crust, but same kind of thing. Kind of probably like a normal, but not I don't wanna, like I don't wanna have to chew it to the point where it's gonna hurt my jaw,
Okay.
right? Sometimes
Yeah.
when you have that, like, kind of denser, chewy crust, it just takes forever, and the actual crust part's too much. So I want, like, crispy on the outside and soft on the inside, ideally,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
holds its form, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and, sometimes I even want, like, a stuffed crust, but that's or maybe like a buttery crust, like a pan pizza almost, where it's crispy on the outside, but
Like a
not too
pizza
thick.
casserole like they have out in Chicago.
No, that's too much. I don't want that. See, the thing is, I don't want so much stuff in the pizza that it completely disregards the balance of bread to sauce to cheese to
I agree.
topping.
Yeah.
If you have too much of any of them, it overpowers the overall flavor. So I want like a balance of all those things so that when I take a bite, nothing is overpowering in my mouth. That's why I don't get like a ton of toppings. I get like pepperoni or maybe like black olives or I don't like sausage or anything like that. I just want like a couple of toppings to give it some saltiness, maybe give it a little bit of acidity or something like that. Or you have I have kind of the different pizzas of like either you want like a meat pizza with pepperoni,
Mhm.
or you want like kind of a fancier pizza with like feta and sun-dried tomatoes or something like that,
Bring it down.
and maybe a pesto sauce or something, or a butter sauce or whatever they use. So there's not like a specific topping priority that I like. I think I there's different times you go to a pizza place and you want something different, or maybe you get
Sure.
one of each and you have like one piece of each, right? Um, but
Nope.
yeah, I want the sauce to be flavorful and I don't want it to be goopy.
I don't wanna be sweet either. I don't like it when it's sweet.
Okay, a little bit. I mean, but like a basil-y kind of
Yeah.
parmesan-y, salty kind of sauce. And
Yeah.
then, if they put a little bit of the garlic butter parmesan stuff on top, I'm
Yeah,
down
that's
with that
good.
too.
Yeah, that's good.
And have you ever had like a balsamic drizzle on top of a pizza too?
I don't know.
It adds that if you didn't get anything like acidic, then it adds kind of that acidic bite to it, which is
Oh,
nice too.
oh, it does sound nice.
I don't know. Usually the places that do that are like fast food places or like a Pizza Hut does that. Or actually, you ever been to Mod Pizza?
No.
You would like Mod Pizza
Yeah.
because you can build it's like a Subway for pizza.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So you get like a little whatever 9-inch pizza, and it's very thin crust. But they have like 4 or 5 different sauces, and you can mix and match. It's like half pesto, half marinara, and then you can get like half mozzarella, a little bit of parmesan, maybe some ricotta cheese or something on there. And then we actually do like broccoli on top. You wouldn't think that that's good, but charred
Oh, I
soft
like
broccoli
broccoli on
on top.
pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a little bit of broccoli, maybe some onions, some red onion, some pepperoni, maybe some green olive or black olive, and then maybe a little bit of cheese on top to kind of form it all together.
Do you
And
guys have
then
like Greek pizza places out where you are? Like they
yeah,
square cut pizza? Those places usually do a
probably. I'm sure they
decent
do.
broccoli and chicken pizza, right? It's like if all else fails, you can get like a
Chicken, I'm not big on pizza because it's almost always dry.
that's true.
But Mod Pizza, they do have a stone oven, and it takes like 5 minutes. They just throw it in there, to pull it out, and then you can get some drizzle. They have like 4 or 5 different types of drizzle, and I usually get the balsamic.
Mm.
Good stuff.
Now I'm
Mm-mm-mm.
hungry for pizza.
Yeah, now I want pizza. By the way, if you've never tried, oh my gosh, what is the name of that frozen pizza that's like my favorite, but it's always too expensive unless it's on sale? Screamin' Sicilian. You ever tried that frozen pizza?
No.
It retails for like $10 to $11 per pizza, but
Oh, that's
sometimes you
not
can
bad.
get it on sale for like $5.
Yeah.
So I'd get like 3 or 4 of them, and they just have a pepperoni. And there's something about the sauce on that pizza, and they have like a lot of pepperoni on top. Like it's completely covered with pepperoni. So if you ever, and it's got like the mustache, the Italian mustache on the front. So if you've never tried that, I highly recommend, as far as frozen pizzas go, to try the Screaming Sicilian. Good. They also make a margarita one with the mozzarella on top.
Mm, I like it. I like it.
Haven't tried that one yet, but
Yeah, I also am not that picky about pizza. Like when people say,
Oh,
like you
right,
go to a
same.
place, if you go to a place that they're like, we're having pizza, what do you want? I'm like, I like what you're having.
Yeah.
You know, like you do what you do. I'm gonna try that. You know,
I
but
think
most
the
people
only
just get like pepperoni or like one pepperoni pizza and one cheese pizza, and
or
I'm like, oh, that's
Hawaiian or
kind
something
of
like that.
boring. Very
Yeah.
few people could get Hawaiian. I
I
like Hawaiian
prefer
pizza. Pineapple on pizza is delicious.
agree. You ever tried pepperoni pineapple?
Yeah, yeah, that's delicious
It's
too.
superior. It's superior
More
to the
better than
ham because
ham.
the ham is always like like it's just chewy and just not good, rubbery kind
Hmm.
of. Anyways, yeah, pepperoni pineapple is superior in my opinion.
We usually don't get frozen pizzas. We get those like take and bake pizzas, which are like
Sure.
they're kind of like you got to get them into a bakery section because like they just made them, and then I think they put them in the oven for like a minute or something. I'm not sure what they do, but they're basically like a ready to go pizza. You just put it in the oven for 20 minutes, and it's like it tastes like
Hmm.
regular pizza, like a
Hmm.
regular like not great pizza, but not
Costco
bad.
has decent ones like that too that are like $10.
Yeah, I like those. Those are my favorite, and
They're huge.
yeah, one of those usually feed everybody in the family, which is nice. You know, we got big eaters in this family.
Our kids are picky, but sometimes they'll eat pizza. So
Oh, really? Usually pizza's a safe bet.
yeah, they don't eat hamburgers. Sometimes they'll eat hot dogs. They eat their vegetables pretty good, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
good.
weird.
Yeah,
Kids are
we had
weird.
issues with picky eating when my kids were young. It was actually pretty difficult. Like, have you ever heard of the yellow diet?
Mm-mm.
Like, we wouldn't eat anything that wasn't yellow. So it's like it had to be
That's a thing.
pasta, chicken nuggets. Like it was very
Our kids are the sim. Yeah, they'll eat like noodles or macaroni and cheese. They'll eat chicken
mac and
nuggets, that kind
cheese
of stuff.
good.
Yeah,
But it was like so sometimes you go to a restaurant and there's just nothing on that menu that a kid's gonna eat. It's like,
sure.
well,
Red
this
Robin's pretty good for us. We
yeah,
like to go to. Our kids actually eat sushi, but like
sushi's good. You know, if
very basic sushi.
I think if you don't build up what sushi is in your head as disgusting and you just eat it, you're like, oh, this is good.
Well, they have like cooked sushi. They have shrimp or crab,
Sure.
or they have the tempura stuff in there and whatnot, which is a little crunchy. You don't have to get raw sushi. Anyways, so that's the food section of the show.
Right. And we got video game stuff happening today too.
We do.
Eventually,
Actually, it's
you know.
surprising. There wasn't a ton of news. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, but it was like smaller things.
Yeah, but some good stuff in here, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. Retro Fighters, who they do controllers and different accessories and stuff like that for retro consoles. They're releasing a blockbuster style VHS cassette tape container for Switch games.
Yeah.
And it's only
100%
$20.
buying this.
It's only $20, and it has like the outer case, the clamshell outer case, and it 100% looks like, and I imagine when it's on your shelf, it's gonna look like, would you forget to return your Blockbuster video?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it holds what, 12 Switch games and like 4 memory cards or something like that. So
Yeah, I'm
it'll
buying this
be
right now. Because I'm
it'll
not
be
going to forget to buy this.
pre-orders are available now,
Yeah.
and it launches the 15th of November.
I love everything about this. It even has like the please remember to rewind sticker on it. The movie's name is Movie Rental VHS Cassette.
The
Rating
only thing I
R.
will say, I don't know what the dimensions of this is because it does say mini VHS
Oh,
cassette.
so it's not like a full size? Oh, it
That's
looked like
the
it
only
was
thing
full
I'm worried
size.
about.
Oh.
I would prefer it to be full size too.
Yeah, me
So
too. Still.
I
Still. Oh yeah,
I
it
mean,
is
all the
small. There's like a
pictures.
video. Whoop.
Oh,
Uh,
is there a video?
yeah, and it's definitely small. Still cool though. It's
I'm gonna look
very
at the video.
cool though.
I would
What a great
definitely
idea.
prefer it to be full size.
They must have had to get this licensed by Blockbuster, right?
It's I'm sure.
Right?
It seems like it's about, I don't know, 5/6 the size of a Switch dock,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely pretty small.
Yeah. Cool though. Very, very good idea. I love it.
Yeah.
That's Retro
Anyways,
Fighters. So Retro Fighters, I think it's just retrofighters.com. You'll find it.
Um, apparently there's been a bunch of Pokemon games that have been lost and canceled, but they found one of them
Not enough.
called Pokemon 2000 Adventure.
Okay.
And the pictures show it as like it almost looks like they took sprites like straight out of the cartoon show and put it into like a game. But you can actually experience this game now. It's up fully playable thanks to Did You Know Gaming. So it's a browser game and it's been restored and it's now playable online.
Huh. Oh, this was a browser game.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
I don't know anything about it. It was an official game made in partnership with Warner Brothers for $2 million.
And it got canceled before it came out.
Yeah. Apparently it's a messy story anyways, but
It's only a 10-minute or so experience. I don't know. That's kind of neat. If you're a Pokemon fan, it's probably worth checking out. Just see what could have been.
Another thing from Atari's in the news. I think we covered this announcement at some point, but this product is now going to be released October 31st. Pre-orders are available now for $99.99. It is an Atari game station being released by My Arcade. So it's a digital box, basically, and it has 200 games, and it has 2.4 gigahertz wireless controllers, which I wonder how those controllers work because it has like a button on top of the on the top and on the side,
Yeah.
but it might like move better than a real Atari controller. So I'm curious what the reviews on this would be like.
Yeah. So this isn't the one that takes cartridges, right?
No, this is just like a digital box essentially for $100.
Yeah. This one's not that interesting to me. The one that actually could take Atari cartridges, I thought was pretty neat. This one, yeah, I do remember this one with the LED lights on it and everything.
Mm-hmm. Still, the only thing about the cartridge Atari is the fact that it's basically like a Hyperkin. It uses software emulation. That's the thing that bugs me. But
I don't know. I still think it's kind of neat.
Yeah, it is. I bet you're excited about this. SNK is working on a reboot for Art of Fighting and Samurai Showdown, which Samurai Showdown is going to be coming out as an RPG. They said it's not going to be a fighting game.
Interesting. So there was a Samurai Showdown RPG that was Japan only. It never came to the States. Fans are working on a translation for it. I think it was Sega Saturn, if I'm not crazy. So that's kind of neat. I mean, I am definitely excited about this. Both of the games. So Art of Fighting is this the sequel to Mark of the Wolves?
It is not going to be a sequel. It says.
Okay, so SNK has City of Wolves that's coming out soon, but that I think is Fatal Fury, right?
Sure.
I think so.
I'm not sure.
So wow, they got a huge cash investment from that Saudi company. I can't remember what it is. It's like, some like government run fund, but they have been making a lot of games, a lot of moves since then.
Hopefully they're good.
Yeah, I mean, they've been coming out with some cool stuff. Has that Metal Gear strategy game come out yet? I don't think it has.
Like, is there a tactics type Metal Gear game coming out?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard about it yet.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I like what SNK does. Like, they do some cool stuff, and I really like Samurai Showdown games. So to play an RPG, I would definitely check that out.
Yeah, the aesthetic of these games have always been stellar.
Yeah.
I've always kind of had like a love for them from afar, like not because, as a Nintendo, they had like some Super Nintendo games, but they weren't the best. They were okay.
Yes. I agree.
I did play a few of them, and I remember enjoying the aesthetic and kind of the characters and all that stuff, but it didn't, because they were almost always fighting games. It was hard for me to enjoy them over like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or something.
Yeah. I can only get into one fighting game at a time, kind of. Sure. It just takes me so long to kind of unpack, like, the strategy and everything. Like, for multiple fighting games to come out. Like, this year is crazy for fighting games, right? As we got a new Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat 1 just came out, Tekken 8 is coming out very soon, I think at the beginning of next year. It's like there's just so many games, and it's like, I don't know, it just takes me longer to like kind of get into and like enjoy a game that I tend to just kind of stick with one. But I don't know, I do like SNK games, and I've been going back and playing a lot of Neo Geo stuff on the Mister since I've gotten the Mister, and I mean, the quality is fantastic. Like, they're so good. I wish I had gotten into more of them when they were new. Of course, I could never own a Neo Geo when I was a kid, but
yeah.
So
I'm
expensive.
excited that a lot of these fighting games are coming out with more story-driven content.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
I like that too. I think a lot of people have learned from Mortal Kombat how like Mortal Kombat has really gotten opened up to the casual audience by having these like really cool story modes,
Mhm.
like really cool story modes. And I think, people are seeing that and being like, well, we can add something like that.
Yeah.
Sell a lot more copies to people who aren't just like, hardcore.
Right, it's actually intriguing to me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you should play the
Somebody who's
Mortal
not
Kombat games, like Mortal Kombat 9, 10, 11, and now 1. Fantastic story modes. And you can buy those dirt cheap, because there's
yeah,
like a million copies out there. Like any used game store is going to have them.
sure, just don't buy them for the Switch.
Well, don't buy 1 for the Switch, but I played 11 on the Switch and it was fine.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I
graphically,
think
definitely not
it's
great. But...
hilarious, all the stuff that's going on right now. Have you seen
Dude,
the
it has a
videos?
Steam achievement.
The $70 Switch version looks like something on your phone. It's just silly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to end up being a collector's item someday. You
Yeah,
watch.
I'm sure.
Right?
So we talked about this, the 8-bit do NES keyboard, and the only reason I put it
Yeah.
in here, it's not news. You could buy it. It's not, I think it's like $100, right?
Yeah, it's $100. It's a
And
really good
but they did
value.
a review. Yeah, Time Extension did a review on it, and it was very favorable.
Yeah.
They said that the keys are a little loud, so not really viable for like a work environment,
Mm-hmm.
but otherwise it felt very satisfying to use, and the like wireless lasted like 200 hours and all this stuff. And
It's a
then the
long
big
time.
buttons can be mapped with like hotkey, not just hotkeys, but like
Macros.
combinations.
Yeah.
Yeah, macros.
Yeah.
So for anybody who, you could use one for copy and another for paste or something simple, right? But I don't know. So it's just fun to see that this is getting favorable reviews for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have one that like makes some stupid sound effect for darn podcasts and one that just shuts down the computer.
Do not hit the red boo.
Oops. Short show tonight. Sorry, guys.
Of course.
I meant to do the air horn sound effect, but I shut down my computer.
Could possibly go
it's
wrong.
not my fault. Nintendo decided to put the A on the right side and the B on the left side.
Yeah. Jeez.
Struggling with this for 40 years now. I'm going to get one of these. I meant to pre-order it. I just never got around to it. It's out now. I think it's widely available. I don't think it's like pre-order or anything, or you got to wait for it.
8-bit dude does a great job of meeting demand for sure.
Yeah. Also, you can add more of those big buttons to it. So you can have like a bunch of those.
Oh, no. See him like
and there is a matching mouse that goes with this too. That's been around for a few years now. But it's got like the NES style buttons as the mouse click buttons, which is kind of neat too. Very cool. I'm glad that people are so positive about this. I was totally planning on getting one. I'm definitely gonna order one.
His wife hates me.
The next one I threw in here, Ray's Arcade Chronology is now available on Steam. This is notable because this game has been it's been available on PlayAsia, physical copy. You can get like the Japanese version, but to get like a English version, to get the physical copy, it's sold by Strictly Limited Games. I ordered my copy in December 2022, has not shipped yet. So who knows how long it's going to take to get this, but this is a collection of quite a few games. It's got Ray Force, Ray Storm, Neo HD, Ray Crisis, and Ray Crisis HD. Ray Storm, Neo HD, and Ray Crisis HD are just what they sound like, HD versions of the older games, just up-res to look a little nicer on modern displays. People seem pretty excited about this. It looks really nice in video. These are classic shooters, and the conversion was done by M2, so it's probably going to be really good. Most M2 stuff doesn't come out on PC, so this is a little bit unusual. Most of the M2 stuff only goes to consoles, mostly these days just to the PlayStation. So this is kind of notable, and I'm still waiting on my copy for the PlayStation. I think I got the PlayStation and the Switch version.
How much were the physical versions?
I want to say they were $40.
because this seems a little expensive for me. It's $50
$49.99.
for it's so I mean, and it's essentially 3 games, 2 of which are HD versions, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll go on sale at some point on Steam.
So I bought. No, that's the wrong one. I'm looking through my unfulfilleds at Strictly Limited Games. For the Switch, it was $50. So I got the Switch version for $50, and then I think that I missed out on the PS4 edition, so I had to buy like a special edition that was $80 and came with like
Mm,
some goodies, which will be cool when it comes, if it ever comes.
yeah.
Like I'm so sick of waiting on these companies like for years.
What platform did these games originally come out to?
I
Like
want to say they were like
Saturn?
Saturn, PlayStation 1 era games, arcade they came out on. Um,
They definitely look cool, don't get me wrong.
They do look cool. Yeah, I've never played them. I'm looking forward to it. They're well liked by the shoot 'em up, like the old school shoot 'em up fans that are out there.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to it. I've never played them though.
Sweet.
They do look good, and the HD versions look good too. I like when they do
Mhm.
HD versions. I especially like it. You know how some games they'll do like you could turn on the HD version while you're playing, like with a button, and like turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, like seamlessly while you're playing. Like I just love seeing like, okay, what did this look like back then? What does it look like now? Because sometimes you end up like going, I kind of like how it used to look better than the new version, and sometimes not so much. I think
Mhm.
the R-Type Dimensions does that, which I
Yeah,
think is fun.
16-bit games often look pretty good
Yeah,
back in the day.
yeah, yeah. More about that later. I got some words. uh, Another more shooter news. Yuzo Koshiro's Mega Drive Genesis shmup Earthian is coming to current gen systems. So we talked about this, I think, a few months ago when this was first announced, and it was going to be a new Mega Drive / Genesis game. But now it's been announced that it is also going to come to modern consoles, and this is very much like an ode to like the 16-bit classics like Thunder Force 4 and Thunder Force 3, like that kind of thing. And it looks fantastic.
It
Like
does look it
really
looks
looks
great.
good. And I believe Yuzo Koshiro did the music for some of the Thunder Force games. I'm not positive about this, but he's definitely got some DNA from back in the day of those like older shooter games. So I'm looking forward to this. I will probably order this for the Genesis itself. And I don't know, I might get 2 copies, get like a modern copy for a modern console and a classic Genesis cart, because I think it's cool when they make new games for old consoles like that. And
I really like the color palette. There's a scene
yeah,
here about a minute and a half into the clip that they have on this page, and it has like clouds above and clouds below,
yeah,
and just it's like at dusk. So like the kind of further away perspective clouds are like pink and purple, and then
yeah,
as it gets closer to you, they turn like blue and dark blue. I don't know. It just looks really cool.
yeah. It really does look really neat. It really does remind me of Thunder Force like a lot.
Mhm.
I'm into this. I can't wait for it. Cool.
Sweet.
But it's also nice to know that it's coming out on modern consoles, because
Sure. Do we know when?
no, when 2024, 2024.
It does, yeah, it says 2024.
Yeah,
Both Mega Drive, Genesis, and current
so
gen.
probably
Sweet.
2025.
Yeah, probably. So this was an exciting story. I was more excited about it when I first saw it because Time Extension's title of this was a little bit clickbaity. It said Sega Saturn Mini could become a reality thanks to Retron FPGA.
Yeah,
So this has nothing to do with Sega. Sega's not involved in this at all. Basically, what they were showing off at the Tokyo Game Show, it looked like a Sega Saturn Mini. I believe it actually used the discs. However, it's using FPGA versus emulation, which is very exciting, right? Sega Saturn FPGA, it's super exciting.
yeah.
However, again, Sega's not involved in this, and this technology is more of a display, and it's going to be like technology they're going to use as part of Hyperkin's new Retron FPGA platform that is unreleased, and it looks like they're going to be trying to release some stuff next year. But as I was reading more and like looking at reviews and I looked on some message boards and stuff about this. Apparently, Hyperkin is known for showing off things at trade shows that never come to fruition.
Yeah.
There's apparently like an older Game Boy that they showed that looked kind of like an analog, but it was more like um kind of actual to like the original Game Boy stuff. And then they showed like an N64 unit as well. That and over the last 3, 4, 5 years, this stuff never came to light. So I'm not as excited about it now. However, I'm still excited at the fact that there's Sega Saturn FPGA technology floating around.
Yeah. Well, the Mister has a Sega Saturn, right? It's not fully finished yet, but it's getting very close. You can download the demo of it, like the latest version of it, and play it
Mhm.
now. What's exciting to me about this is that if a company like Hyperkin gets into FPGAs, like that could really open up like a much higher quality of accessible retro gaming than I
Sure.
think what Hyperkin currently provides. And I'm not digging on Hyperkin because I bought the Retron 5. That was kind of my like first toe dip into retro, and I really liked it. And it led me down a path where, okay, like now I want to, like, what else is out here? Like, how do I improve upon this setup?
Sure.
But it's a very easy way to bring home a console that can play basically any game that you could find, any cartridge game that you could find at like a retro store, and just kind of get you started. So to see them exploring the FPGA space, I think is really exciting, because what I'd really like to see is them to make similar products to the Retron 5, but with an FPGA where you have a cartridge slot, because that I
Mhm.
think would be really fun. Analog does that, but they do it in a way where you got to buy the Super Nintendo one, you got to buy the Genesis one, you got to buy each individual one. Now this one they say is going to be the Sega Saturn one, so maybe they're going to go along with the analog business model instead of the kind of the Retron model. But I would love to see a Retron FPGA that has like 5 systems with cartridge slots. I think that'd be awesome. Also, the Sega Genesis core is proving to be very difficult, right? He's been SRG, I think is his name, is like his handle. He's been working on this for a couple of years. So does Hyperkin have like the knowledge base, institutional knowledge base, to even develop a core for an FPGA of the Sega Saturn that is accurate? Or are they just going to steal one that they find on the internet somewhere? Because they've been known to do that too.
Mhm. Retron or Hyperkin, things that are pros, right? They've been around for a while.
Yeah.
They make platforms that are more financially accessible,
Yeah.
and they have, I'm sure, because they make a ton of systems and they have over the years. So they probably have relationships with production companies and stuff that can pump these things out in a much more, you know, reasonable time frame than like analog does.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the technology is the question mark here. And also I was like trying to look and find more information about Retron. There's not a whole lot out there. They were talking like 2024, 25 time frame from what I saw. So this is one of the first kind of displays of what they're working on. So I'm sure we'll be talking more about this in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. The Mr. FPGA technology is so interesting because it allows for such accurate, reproduction of old hardware, but with modern outputs. Like, it's amazing what you can do with a Mister. And now, I don't know if you heard this. I don't know if we talked about this in the last news segment we had, but there's like a competitor to the Mister coming out called the Mars FPGA, which uses a more powerful FPGA chip that will
I think we
more
mentioned.
easily, yeah, it'll more easily be able to emulate like higher end systems. Theoretically, the Dreamcast, maybe even beyond, which would be
Mhm.
amazing. Plus more powerful arcade hardware, because some arcade games that you remember from the 90s just aren't possible, or don't seem to be possible on the Mister. So one of the problems though is that the Mister itself has probably doubled in price since I bought mine, just because that's the way the world has been going. Just everything's getting more expensive, and this Mars FPGA is rumored to be like $800 to $900, which that's a good chunk of change for just kind of like a hobby. That's a lot of money. So, when I bought my Mister, it was $300, but now I think it'd be hard to find one for less than 500. And that's kind of a bummer.
I'm looking at my analog systems and thinking about how much I've spent on the NES, SNES, Genesis, and Pocket.
Yeah, well, the NES was what, 500? Was it 400 or 500?
It was 500. Yeah,
500. The Super Nintendo and the Genesis though were 150. Were they 200 or 150?
I don't remember because the first analog system I actually got it on eBay. It was the SNES, and I got it for like $80.
Oh wow, that's a hell of a deal.
So, no, it was, yeah.
And then the Turbo Duo is, I think, 250.
230 or 250, yeah. 250
So
sounds right.
like the cool thing about analog is they make them kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of like classy looking and they're like the professional looking. Bad thing is, like you got to buy each one separately, so it's
they
like
do use cards though, which the Mister doesn't too.
Yeah, that's so like
different thing.
There's definitely room in this space still. I think there's room, especially for a company like Hyperkin that could come in and kind of undercut on prices, as long as they could still maintain high quality. Which that is kind of the failing of Hyperkin in the past, right? Is like they do good prices, but the quality isn't necessarily there. Like the really obsessive folks don't tend to like their stuff so much.
Imagine if you could, I mean, I don't think this would ever happen because of licensing, but imagine a scenario where you could own something like a Mister, and Mister could work directly with game publishers and developers.
Yeah.
And just like funnel original ROMs and stuff into your Mister, where you'd pay for the license, where it'd be 100% legal.
Yeah.
But it would also
I'd be into that.
Provide resources for those companies. I mean, I don't know if they'd go so far as to like actually work with Nintendo, because Nintendo wants to keep things proprietary and on their own
Nintendo
platforms,
probably be a no-go. But Sega, I think, would be all over something like
sure.
that.
Or like, Konami or, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Square Enix or
have like a store, like you could actually support, like show that people still want this stuff. I mean, Konami, I'm going to talk more about Konami later, but Konami, I think, has like kind of, people still want these games, right? It's like they had just kind of abandoned the video game market altogether and are now like coming back out and saying, like, look at all the demand for this stuff. They got that Metal Gear collection coming. They've had several like Castlevania collections, the Contra collection. Like, it does look like Konami is kind of like waking up, like, oh, wait a minute. I think we might have made a mistake here.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is exciting news. I hope something comes of it. Like you said, like who knows what the future holds, but I'd love to get the Sega logo on this thing too. That'd be really neat.
Sure. And this was also tweeted at us, but it's probably the news of the week.
Yeah.
Speaking of analog, right? They are going to release I don't know what an Apple 2000s line of analog pocket.
Yeah, like transparent. Yeah.
Color.
Yeah.
So they have what? It's like, it looks like light gray, dark gray, red, blue, orange, green, purple.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it's too many colors. They probably don't need more than like 5.
I'm just glad they didn't decide to do like one at a time. Like, get your purple.
Sure.
We'll do a purple one, and then 2 weeks later, like
the glow in the dark one.
We're gonna do the green one this week, and like you don't know what's coming. You only know that what you missed out on. At least they're doing them all at the same time. I'm guessing these are all gonna sell out in 2 minutes, just like the glow in the dark one did. So I probably won't get one. Although I kind of want one. I'd rather have the glow in the dark one more than the transparent one. But I suspect from your excitement level that you'd like the transparent better than the glow in the dark.
Well, my very first Game Boy was the Play It Loud Game Boy, the clear one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The clear one is my favorite of the bunch.
That was my first, So that was my first Game Boy because I was born in 85. So obviously I wasn't old enough to get an original Game Boy at the time.
Actually, the smoke one, the black one, like the black transparent, I think is the coolest one.
The purple one too has some reminiscence for me too, because they had like a Game Boy Color that was translucent purple and stuff.
Yeah.
But some of these, like, I don't think there needs to be a red one. I don't think there needs to be an orange one. I don't know.
Well, I mean, somebody's got nostalgia for that color. That's somebody's favorite color. Like, if they're gonna do any of them, I think they're all pretty cool looking, and I really
They are.
Analog does such good product photos. Is not only did they show all of the colors together, but they picked games that kind of shared the color of the shell to show on the screen, which I gotta say, nice touch. Nice
Yeah.
touch. You know, that looks
They have the
cool.
filters and stuff too, yeah, but like Sonic on the blue one and things like that.
Yeah.
So these are $250, right? Which is great that they're not more expensive.
Yeah.
Pre-orders open on September 29th, which is what, in 3 days?
Yeah.
Friday morning at
Yeah.
8 AM Pacific.
I'm gonna
So
try and
if
get one of these. We'll see. Like, I'm not gonna go crazy if I can't get one. But I wouldn't mind getting, frankly, almost any of the colors except for the orange one. I don't really like the orange one, but all of the colors I think look cool. Honestly,
I don't know if I'm gonna go for one,
I
to be
might
honest.
I might get one, but like
I don't see the point
again,
of having
the
2,
glow in
but
the dark one was out of stock in 2 minutes. So, you know, we'll see. But cool,
yeah.
sweet.
They are super cool. I just don't know if I can justify essentially 300 with shipping on one of these.
Right. Yeah.
But
I need to order stuff from them anyway. So that's, you pay crazy shipping from them if you order even like a cable. So
I wouldn't unless I honestly, if you want to get one of these, you should just try to immediately grab one of these without the accessories and stuff
yeah,
because
you're
going
probably right.
through the accessories and all that, it's going to take time. So,
Um,
and I don't think you save much on shipping anyways because most of this stuff ships out separately.
yeah. But I use my analog pocket a lot
Mm.
because it's basically, it's, almost as functional as my Mr. FPGA, but it's down in my living room under like the TV living room. And I use it to play, basically anything from 1994 or earlier, and like there's tons of arcade games on that thing, Super Nintendo. I got all the ROMs loaded on it, and it works awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it really is a heck of a device.
I should force myself to take it to TwitchCon and play some stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only way that I would, because I don't know.
Yeah. The one complaint I have about it is probably that the only games I actually want to play on the screen are like Game Gear games or Game Boy games, because playing like
Smaller, yeah.
full size console games are just like, I tried playing. We're gonna talk about Gargoyles next for the Sega Genesis. I tried playing it on that screen. It was just too small. Like I just
It's
couldn't see
small.
enough.
There's a lot of really intricate jumping points and things in this game. So
Yeah, yeah. But I did end up just putting it on the dock, playing on the playing on the big screen TV, and perfect. It was just ran
nice.
great. It's
Gargoyles. What'd you think?
Gargoyles. This game makes a hell of a first impression. Like the first 2 levels, I think are gorgeous. Like the animation for the character is pretty good. But the more I played this one, kind of the less I liked it. Honestly, how would you think?
I mean, for those that are unfamiliar with Gargoyles, it was released in '95, so like pretty late,
Yeah,
and it's a platformer, right? Like, kind of think of like Earthworm Jim ish, but very specific gargoyle movement, like animalistic movement around a lot of, you can climb walls and ceilings and
yeah,
jump and claw and all that kind of stuff, and it's really dark. Like, not just aesthetically, but thematically. It's a Disney game, right? They released it under the brand Buena Vista, but it's Disney. And for what, like, I think it's really cool. I thought it was cool. Like the aesthetics cool, the characters are cool,
yeah,
the environments are cool. The music was okay for me.
yeah. I wasn't digging the
Um,
music much at all.
it was okay. It was very
The
repetitive,
sound
but
effects could be a little graining too.
some of the movements were a little clunky.
Yeah,
'Cause, when you 'cause you do have to do a lot of jumping. There's a lot of jumping and clinging to walls and climbing and jumping, clinging to walls, and you can, like, flap your wing and jump and stuff, and then you have to, like,
like a double jump.
yeah, blast through walls and stuff. So it wasn't, like, 100% accurate on some of the things that you'd wanna do with your buttons. So there's a little bit of frustration there. And the enemies can be really tough to kill. Like, you gotta hit them like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
Half the
times
time,
sometimes.
I've found it just easier to just like jump over them and just keep going.
Yeah.
Like it
And
didn't
and
pay to like actually fight anything.
I felt like the throw button only worked on the weaker enemies. Like I tried to use them on the harder ones, and it wouldn't do anything.
Okay, let's hold up there because there is 3 buttons to this game. There's a jump button, like an attack button, and a throw button. Now, there's also you use the buttons for there's like multifunction buttons, and if you are walking and you hit your attack button, you kind of do this like charge move. I can't really tell if he's doing a shoulder charge, but it kind of looks like of that irk. And you can like blast through enemies or blast through walls. Now you can also jump and then hit downward to like break like a platform that you want to go down through. But you hit the throw button to do it, and that took me forever to figure out. It should be down attack, or just down would be fine.
I had to go look at the manual.
Yeah, I had to go to a YouTube video. Like, how do I get past this part? Like, I clearly can break this floor. But yeah, like I gotta agree with you on the controls. It all felt just a little slippery and a little loose to the point where like it didn't impede my progress, but it just never gave me that feeling of like precision and power that you get with like a really great one of these types of games. Like you never feel like you're 100% in control. You're just kind of like barely hanging on. You know what I mean? Like,
to be fair, it probably is accurate to what like an animalistic gargoyle stone creature would probably feel like a little clunky. So it kind of played into that a little bit, but you know what I mean? Like, think about how an actual gargoyle
I would think it's going to be like heavier and like skulking and like deliberate. And this just feels like he's flying around like all directions. Yeah, it feels very floaty. And then like your interactions with the enemies don't feel very satisfying. You can stun lock a lot of them. So you just like walk up to them and start swiping at them, and they never have an opportunity to hit back. Even if they are hitting you back, you don't get a lot of feedback. Like you just start seeing your life bar go down. You're like, oh, well, this isn't working. I should back up and like try a different line of defense. And you're right about that throw button. Like I don't really know why it works sometimes and why it didn't. But like sometimes you can just walk up and throw a guy, and sometimes you hit that button and you just like completely whiff and then get blasted in the face.
Yeah, there's a positive and negative to the visual feedback that you were talking about. Like when you get hit, if you like walk into fire or hit spikes or something, there's no like jump back or anything visually to tell you that you got hit.
Yeah.
Which is a positive and a negative sometimes, because sometimes you're like climbing and hit something and you fall and you're like, did I lose health? I did, but it didn't like throw me into a pit. You know what I mean? Like think about like Ninja Gaiden or something like that.
But you don't even get like the character doesn't flash or doesn't go, like
no.
It's just nothing,
You just kind of fall and then you have less health.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Also, the level design, the first 2 levels are pretty cool. So you start off in like the Viking Age. I think it says like 932. Oh, I should be I got gameplay here that I can be showing while we're doing this. You start off in like, the Viking Age, and it looks badass, and you're fighting like Vikings with shield maidens, and I'm pretty sure the first and second boss are Thor, and you beat his ass pretty hard.
The second one was easy because I learned that you can just go up and just
stun lock him. Yeah, you can just completely stun lock the second boss, who is Thor, the god of lightning, just gets whipped. And then after that, there's like a time jump, and you go into like the modern age. And I gotta say, like the level design and the graphics take a huge downward turn as soon as you come into the modern age. It's just like the game I thought was really cool looking for the first 2 levels, and then it's like pretty unimpressive for the rest of the game, basically. And I did finish this game, and I finished the game pretty quick. I think it took me like an hour and a half from start to finish in like one play session.
On normal mode, you beat it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was not difficult. Like you pretty much just like ran through it. Probably the hardest part was the last boss, and it wasn't hard because it was hard. It was hard because it took so damn long, and my attention span is only so long. That last boss takes forever. And is it the second to last level? It's kind of like a minecart level, and you are just like standing there on this like minecart forever. I don't know. Like this game starts off strong, and it really loses me by the end. You're muted.
I didn't get that far. I got about halfway through the 3rd level.
That's so that
Um,
the third level is the first level that's in the modern era.
yeah, it has
Okay.
the robots.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really interesting stuff about this game that I want to talk about.
Okay.
But what was I going to say? The game is definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of technology in here that it's like very forward um and revolutionary in a way. Like they were trying a lot of new things and a lot of stuff that you don't see in any games around this time era, right? Technology wise, with some of the 3D models and things like that. But there was this long interview that I read specifically about this game, and it's at vk.com. And the title of the article, my God, there's like a dozen people, developers that they um talk to. It says making of Gargoyles, an interview with the creators of the game. It's like a dozen different developers came out last year, this interview. They also interviewed the developers for Maui Mallard, which Maui Mallard and Gargoyles were developed in like parallel of each other. And a lot of them used the same developers. Um, so I read, it took me like an hour to read this entire interview. It was pretty wild. There was originally an SNES version of this game, and it was like fully developed, and then they just decided not to release it, and they think maybe it's because the game itself didn't perform that well. But
Oh, like it did, the Genesis version didn't perform well retail? Is that what you mean?
yes,
Okay.
yes, so that was the speculation there.
Hmm.
Um,
I bet this game would have looked really nice on the Super Nintendo.
yeah,
The increased
and a lot
palette.
of the developers of this game were in their early to mid 20s, which I think is wild if you think about it. And there was one of them who ended up being the like lead in the 3D era who like did a year of college and so he was like 19. And so he's the one who basically kind of spearheaded all of the 3D models, like the machines and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And there was a story because they interviewed him, and there was a story where he's like, "Yeah, they basically took me into an office and they showed me this new PC with 3D software that I'd never seen before, and it was like $120,000 PC
Nice.
in whatever 1994 when they were
Yeah.
developing this thing." And they're just like, "Have fun. Here's a book. Learn all the new technology." Right? So
Sweet.
he had to learn it and then like teach other people. And he said he learned a lot because he used to like meticulously design these 3D models with like every piece perfectly fitting together and all this stuff. And then realizing that 80% of it was pointless because it's going to be transitioned into a 16-bit sprite,
Yeah, you never
right?
see the detail.
So, and yeah, a lot of that stuff doesn't translate very well. So he had like a peer that was with him that could get stuff done 10 times faster because he only focused on the things that needed to get. So he's like, it's really interesting to hear. Like, I learned a lot on this project because, of all that kind of thing. And there's like a bunch of Easter eggs in this game. And like, you have to have different button presses. And there was a story with a programmer who put an Easter egg in the game, and the board was like, "Nope, you gotta take it out." And he just looked at him and was like, "No."
No. No.
And they were like, "What do you mean no?" And he's like, "You can't make me, and nobody else knows how to take it out. So, no." Like, so they like left it in, and then it's just stuff like that. It's really funny. And what else? There's no mention of Disney anywhere in the game. And
Was there
there's
any
like
mention? So this is based off of the TV show. Is there a mention
it
of
is.
Disney in the TV show? Like, is it Disney's
Mm,
Gargoyles or is it just not
I
mentioned?
think, yeah, I think it was shown on Disney Channel, right?
I don't know. I mean, I remember
But
this being a cartoon, but I don't know if I ever watched like a full episode of it.
so they were talking about in the interviews how a lot of games based on TV series and stuff are done after the show. This was done at the same time the show was being produced. So the people that were making the game, the communication wasn't great. So they didn't even like know the storyline of the show while
Oh,
while they were
interesting.
developing
So
this.
is the story of the game the same as the story of the show?
No. I
Okay.
mean, the baseline of it being based on like mythology and stuff, yes,
Okay.
right? But the, like, actual storyline, they're like, "We didn't know exactly where the show was gonna go, so we stayed kind of more true to just, like, the
Is Thor a
basis."
bitch in the real show?
I don't know. But, like, what was it? The Eye of Odin
Yeah.
is different in the game compared to the show. The show, they made it more, like, simple, because
Okay.
the Eye of Odin in the game is pretty complicated. It's like 2 birds kinda overlapping and stuff, so they made it a lot more simple in the show. Things like that. didn't really line up, and they changed the color of the main gargoyle, whatever his name was, in the game because of, like, the backdrops and stuff were kinda, because in the show, he's purple, but in the
Oh, I
game,
thought
he's,
he
like,
was gray.
gray.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
in the
that's
game,
actually
he's got,
something I
like,
liked about the game is that depending on which level you're in, he changes color because of the lighting, right? So
Sure.
like if you're in like a blue lit level, he shows up blue, and if you're an orange lit level, he shows up orange. Like it's kind of neat.
Yeah, so that was a lot of development stuff, and they, like any game, the interviews, they were talking about how much stuff they had to cut out. Like, there's still models and things like that in the game that didn't ever make it. Um, but they were really trying to push the envelope, and they were some of the first, if not the first game, especially in the 16-bit era, to use 3D models,
Oh,
like,
really?
in their game. So, like, in that third level with the machines and stuff, those were developed in 3D first before being translated to sprites.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought that was
It's
pretty cool.
interesting because like to me, like the best levels in the game are like the first two. Like especially in the
Mhm.
castle. I think the castle is so fucking good looking when you're
Yeah.
jumping around in it. And
It
then like
almost looks like a Castlevania level or something.
yeah, yeah, maybe that's why I like it.
The second one almost reminded me of Earthworm Jim because it was, like, hellish with a lot of spikes and things,
Yeah.
which Earthworm Jim has a lot of that stuff going on too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
And
swinging a lot around a lot and you're kind of exploring more.
they talked about how this game was supposed to appeal more to, like, the teenage kind of demographic, which is why it was so dark, and the art lead, who was only, like, 25, he's like, "I was kind of," he's like, "If I could do it over again, I maybe wouldn't have made it quite so dark."
Hmm.
Um, but he's like, "I was young and egotistical and, like, trying to push my art style onto this
It
game."
was the 90s. Like we are
Yeah,
trying to be as edgy and dark as possible at all
very
times.
much. It was, you should go back and read these interviews because it was really kind of eye-opening to
Yeah.
see that stuff.
Did they talk about like time crunch at all? Like trying to get the game done? Because it very much feels like a game that could have used a little more time in the oven.
Towards the end of development, they did outsource some of the, visual production, to get the sprites done and things like that, and they said that the end of the game didn't quite meet the creative direction originally to kind of fit into the release schedule. But, I mean, this game, I think it was like a year or a year and a half dev schedule, so that was
Yeah.
pretty long for the time.
Yeah, that's not yeah, games used to come out in like 6 months.
Um, but they did say a lot of creative ideas got scrapped, or, like, 3D models got scrapped and stuff just because of resources and things
Sure.
like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was pretty cool. And for those who don't know, there's a remaster of this game. It's getting re-released. Um, what is it? October 19th, digitally, and then they're gonna have physical versions on limited run.
Yeah. I'm gonna check out the remaster because I'm looking to see if they're going to kind of address any of the problems or if it's just gonna be a straight like, you know, we're just gonna make nicer like modern graphics to put over this,
Sure.
or if it's gonna just play exactly the same, or if they're gonna like update it at all. This game, talk about a game that benefits from being played on a CRT. Holy smokes, it looks so good on a CRT. Like the what's the gargoyle's name? It's Goliath or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
He looks amazing on a CRT, and it's like almost hard to make out like his parts on a like when it's just the pixels on like a modern display. It really
Mhm.
there's something about this game that really benefits from the kind of the pixel glow of a CRT. When I was playing it, I was going back and forth, like looking at the CRT and then looking at my monitor. I was like, damn, this game looks really good on the CRT.
Nice.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
true with a lot of CGI graphics of the day, actually. Like if you
like
look at
Donkey Kong
Donkey Kong
Country and
Country,
stuff like
a
that.
modern
Yeah.
display, it does not look good. But when you look at it on a CRT, it's like, oh yeah, it did look pretty good back in the day.
Also, this only released in the US, this game.
Oh, really? Is that
And
because
I
the
think
cartoon only came out in the US?
what I read was, yeah, that it was, cartoon was just in the US at the time anyways. I don't know if they ended up releasing it later, but, because they were making
It's
the
called an
game
anime.
they were making the game and the show at the same time, which is different than a lot of, games at the time, so it might have also been why. Like, no Europe, no PAL version, none of that.
How much did copies of this game go for? I didn't even look it up.
Oh, now for Genesis, I think it's, I wanna say $30 for a cart. Complete in box is pretty expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, so it's like 30 to 40 for a cart, or like 150 to 200 complete in box.
Oh wow, that's significant.
Yeah. I don't have it CIB, I just have the cart.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to checking out the remaster. I don't think I'll be going after a copy of this for my collection. But I will check out the remaster just because I'm curious what they're going to do with it. Really.
Sure. I don't know. It was fun. It was interesting. It's definitely worth trying. It's not a bad game, but it's really funny how the reviews were really divisive. Like there was a review where it got like a 4 out of 10, and then there's reviews where it got like 9 and 10 out of 10.
I
So
could
like
see that.
and the wide range in between. So I think probably you might like it more if you watched the show or you enjoyed the show,
That makes sense
which
if you
I
can
didn't.
connect with the characters. Sure.
Yeah. So, but as a pure game, I would give it like 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know if I go that high, but like I'm not far off of there. I'd probably go like 6.5. It's again, like I really thought this game started strong. I was pretty impressed with it, but as I went, like the level design, there's a level where you're standing on a platform for like what feels like 10 minutes, and I think it's the Eye of Odin is just kind of like pulling you around, but you're just standing on this thing for forever, and you just kind of like there's these guys like kind of bird looking things. I can't even really tell what they are. Come flying out and shoot stuff at you, so you just gotta occasionally like jump and nail that thing before it shoots you. But it's just like it just takes so long, and there's not that many levels, and there's not that much like there's not that many different enemies. And the enemies in the first 2 levels are all Vikings and cool, and then in the last half of the game, it's all like robots that you can't really make out what they are. So it's just like, if they just had like continued along like with the Viking stuff, I think I would have liked this way more.
You should try it on hard mode because it's apparently got an error about it where they made it so hard that their they could only release it with the hard mode if one person on the dev team could beat it.
Oh, really?
And by the time it came to release schedule, like one person beat it, so they released it.
I don't think I'm interested in trying that.
I will say it is also pretty forgiving, because when you die, you start in like the exact same spot you died.
Yeah.
And continues are similar too. Is it limited continues at all, or does it just like
I don't know. I never ran into
I only
a
used
limit.
I only used like 1 or 2 continues, and it seemed like it was continuous. So I don't know. It doesn't start you at like the beginning of the world or like set you back at the beginning of the game or anything.
Yeah.
Nice.
This game is, I don't know. It's not hugely difficult. It's not hugely long. I mean, I didn't play the hard mode, so obviously that's much harder. But
Sure.
Just I played normal mode, and I don't know, like it's very doable. It's worth checking out, though. It's not like so bad that I wouldn't even bother checking it out, especially if you kind of think like aesthetically it kind of appeals to you.
Sure.
But like you compare this to like something like Demon's Crest, which is kind of similar like graphic style and like stuff like that, and like I'd definitely play that first. Have we played that on this show yet? Damn, maybe we should add that to the lineup because that game's a killer game.
Well, and there's the Gargoyles. What is it? Gargoyles
Quest? Yeah, that was the Game Boy
what
game,
is
right?
the first one? No. So there's Gargoyles Quest on Game Boy, then there's Gargoyles Quest 2 on NES, and then there's Demon's Crest, and they're all related.
Yeah, they're all part of the Ghouls and Ghosts kind of world. Yeah. My best friend had Gargoyles Quest for the Game Boy, and he loved that game. And then I really like the
Demon's Crest for SNES.
I haven't actually played much of that. I've like played like the first couple of levels, and that's it. That's available, I believe, on Nintendo Switch, right? Their online pass.
Is it?
I want to say so. But yeah, I love the Ghouls and Ghosts games for the Genesis and for the Super Nintendo.
I think it is actually.
Yeah. So
somebody 4 years ago said Demon's Crest is the best SNES game on the Switch that you haven't played.
Maybe we should play that. I don't know. Is that too thematically similar to what we just played?
It might be.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going in the short list.
Yeah, we'll see what your game on the list is. It's also kind of hard to acquire if you don't.
I have a copy
of. I actually do have a copy, and I have the manual, but I don't have the box.
All right, so I'm gonna reveal next week's game a little later because I want to talk about pickups first.
Okay, and it's unless there's a schedule issue, next week should be next week. Next week,
Yeah, theoretically, we'll see.
the third, the 3rd of October. We'll see if Briar can make it.
Yeah, we'll see. All
Do you have
right.
pickups?
Yeah, I got 4 pickups. So I'll go through them real quick. Do you have pickups?
I do. I have 5.
Okay, I'll do mine first, then you can do yours. First one I got, I think is really interesting. It's called American Hero. This is an unreleased game that limited run released on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and I think there's a Switch version as well. But it's like one of them old FMV games, right?
Oh my god!
And it never came out, but they got the footage, they got the game, and they finally released it after all this much time. I'm just going to read the thing in the back because it pretty much explains what it is. A restoration or remaster of a game lost to time for over 25 years, American Hero is an outrageous and unforgettable FMV game that lets you play as Jack, the star in an over-the-top 1990s Hollywood action film.
This game, everything about it couldn't be any more stereotypically American,
right?
If they tried. Like this,
look at the American flag on the bottom.
It seems like it was. It seems like it was developed in Japan with their idea of what our culture and everything about us. Because
first.
like if you look at it's called American Hero.
Yeah.
Like everything on the front of the it's like it looks like Harrison Ford out of Indiana Jones, and then it's got like a giant flag on the street, and there's an explosion in the background.
It's got a Nazi looking dude.
Yeah, it looks so like otherworldly vision of America.
Yeah,
and it's just hilarious.
I can't wait to play it. I'm gonna play it this week. It looks really fun. You know, I used to like these FMV games. You don't see too many of them anymore. Although I think they're having like a little bit of revival. But I think this is cool. It never actually came out. It finally has been released by a limited run.
I have a game,
and it's in 4K now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they uprest it.
I have a game in my pickups too that looks very like 80s.
Yeah,
which is great.
So another FMV game, again re-released by limited run, Night Trap.
Oh my god!
Again,
I was gonna say the other one's kind of like Night Trap. Yeah.
Yeah, they took all the footage. The original game, the footage was actually on film, so they remastered that film footage to 4K for the PS5 release, which is kind of neat. You know, this was one of the most controversial games of all time.
How many copies of that do you have now?
Just the one. This is the only copy I have.
I thought you had like 3 copies of it.
I originally did own the Sega CD version when it came out way back in the day because I was so intrigued.
You can get that for next to nothing.
Like yeah, it sold a ton.
$20. Yeah.
I should get a copy. And the next game I got 2 copies of. I got the Switch and the PS4 version of the Contra collection. So this includes the arcade version of Contra, Super Contra, Contra for the NES, Contra for the Famicom, Super C, Contra 3, the Alien Wars, Operation C, Contra Hardcore, Super Robotector Alien Rebels, which I think is just and Probotector. So I think those are just the same games, but they're just like the European versions. I think they just renamed them and they put robots in instead of like the Arnold and Stallone lookalikes.
Sure.
But that's kind of neat. And I haven't even taken these out of the plastic wrap yet, but the PS4 and the Switch version.
Switch, yeah.
Which that's fun. This is why these Konami games aren't in the Switch Online. It's because they're selling them in these collections, right? Which I'm okay with, honestly.
Same. I mean, I'd rather have a physical version anyways, to be honest, with Nintendo's history of digital stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's what I got for pickups.
Sweet.
All like new old stuff.
Okay. So, I used a bunch of credit from places again. I still have credit to use. So, we'll start with the Genesis games that I got. Pugsy. I don't know anything about this game, but it
Is he
looked
holding
fun.
a beer? That
It's
is
like
the most apathetic looking main character I've ever seen. It's
What
like
is that
he
thing,
can
by the
hardly
way?
be bothered.
What is he?
Is there something in his hand that's on fire? Is that like a map or
Like,
something?
it's like yeah, it's a map.
Oh.
And he's got some sunglasses, and there's a barrel lit on the. He's like
Like a
he's just
bomb?
like
Like
he's
gunpowder?
he's just like, this is the end. And
Wow,
that's just his
Psychosis. So that's a European game.
So, but like, look at the back. Look at his expression on the back. What the hell is this thing?
That dude's on drugs. He is high as hell.
He's got like antenna, but he looks like a red teardrop.
That dude is hardly holding it together. He's been in that mascot costume all day.
It actually looks like a pretty
together.
fun, and the reviews were not half bad for this, to be
Yeah.
honest. They were like 6 7s. It's not an expensive game, but it's just kind of fun. The next one is kind of an expensive game, High Seas Havoc, which I don't know if that's a dog or a penguin or what exactly that main character is.
Yeah.
But again, got it complete in box.
It's an animal of some sort.
Yes, but it looks really cool, and it's kind of a more rare game to get.
Huh. Yeah, I've never
Developed
heard of that
by Data East. Or published by Data East. Probably.
When did Data East go out of business?
Aren't they still making stuff?
Are they?
I mean, I know they had stuff at least through the Switch or through the Wii. Excuse me. Off the top of my head. All right, here's a fun one. Battle Tanks for the N64. The first one. There's like 2 or 3 Battle Tanks in 64 games.
Huh. Never
Developed
heard of it.
by 3DO.
What do the graphics look like?
You're in a tank.
Oh, are you in a tank or you're like third person?
Yeah, I think it's like tank. It's third person, but you are a tank.
Okay. And Data East went out of business in 2003.
Okay. Well, they're still selling licensed stuff though. In collections and things, Data East games. 4-player simultaneous gameplay, explosive 3D tank combat, Fast and Furious gameplay, campaign, deathmatch, annihilation, family modes. Fight your way through 17 levels of intense action. Interesting. Okay. So there's that.
Most of Data East's video game library was acquired by Gmode, a Japanese mobile game content provider, in 2004.
Yeah, because I've seen Data East stuff around.
Yeah, that's why like Windjammers, Karnov, they've all been getting like re-releases because they're so I guess Arc System Works has a part of that. RoboCop they owned. No shit. Yeah, but Data
You'll like
East
this one.
doesn't actually exist anymore.
Turok.
Oh yeah, that game was pretty cool back in the day.
I remember playing this for the first time and being pretty impressed. I don't know how it'll hold up now because the graphics look very like original Doom-esque.
Yeah, a lot of fog in that game. A lot of fog. the draw distance on those early N64 games was not good. But it was a cool game for back in the day. And it had multiplayer, 100%. Right? Didn't it have multiplayer?
I believe so.
I know Turok 2 for sure did.
17. No, this is 1 player.
Okay, Turok 2 definitely did.
Yeah. This is mature 17 plus rated.
Turok was pretty edgy back in the day.
And then speaking of like 80s stereotypical, like very American games.
Yeah.
Predator.
Oh, hell yeah.
For the NES with Schwarzenegger on the cover. But the one on the back's even better because it looks like they cut it out with scissors and then like photocopied it on the back of the game. Because you can like
does.
You can see the jaggies on the edge.
Yeah.
Like they like, paper mache'd it into existence.
Yeah. Is that game any good? Do you know?
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Like there, you can see the graphics of him fighting the Predator right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks kind of like Contra.
That era of licensed games was not great, so it's hard.
Developed by Activision, 1987.
Well, at least it's not LJ.
Or 88. Yeah, 88. I don't know. I don't see this game complete in box very often, so
it's funny. I think that's the same exact cover as the VHS.
Yeah, probably.
Which is, I mean, I guess know your branding, right?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
you like the movie, right? Well, here's the game.
There's no question.
That's kind of neat. I like having that on the shelf. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Now I got to get the VHS to put it alongside.
Right? You put it in a Blockbuster case. That it?
That's it.
All right. I got a choice. I'm just gonna lay it out for you. I'm not even gonna
Sure.
we've already done Contra for the NES, but I'd kind of like to do Contra 3 the Alien Wars. That's the Super Nintendo version, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. So I've never actually like played through that. So I wouldn't mind doing that. And since I just got it, you know, the collection, I would do that. Or we could do Night Trap.
Oh,
Well, I'm gonna leave it up to you. Night Trap, not a great game, but it'd be kind of fun to go back and just check it out, wouldn't it?
how long is Night Trap?
I don't think it's very long. I think especially if you have a guide, I think it's like an hour, maybe tops.
I have not played it. I feel like we have to do Night
All right,
Trap.
let's do Night Trap. Okay, that'll be fun. I'm in. All right, next week's game will be Night Trap. Play along with us. You can join the conversation.
Where can they play it legally?
I mean, you could buy a copy on any console. It came out on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Switch. Yeah.
The 25th anniversary edition is on Steam and Switch.
Yeah, so you can play it anywhere, basically. Or you said that the original Sega CD versions are dirt cheap. Wasn't there a 32X version of it too?
I don't think so. 32X.
I think there might have been.
I don't think it was ever on a cart.
No, it wasn't on a cart, but there were 32X CD games. So you had to have the Sega CD and the 32X. And there was a few games that used both of those add-ons. So surprisingly, they didn't sell very well.
It's $15 on Steam or on Switch.
Okay.
Digital.
And you get HD graphics. But if you get the PlayStation 5 version, you get 4K.
The girl on the cover very much looks like a paper mache cutout.
That's the girl from what was it? Different Strokes.
Oh, I didn't watch that show.
Well,
I was too young.
Yeah, I think I was too young for that show. But still the same girl now.
That's all right.
All right, Night Trap. Next week's episode.
We suffer together. All right.
Hey, it might be fun, you know?
Bonding through trauma.
Anything else we got to talk about? Are we done?
I think that's it.
All right. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week. Watching some Night Trap. Next week episode theoretically will be next week. And then we'll go back to our every other week schedule. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.